Hello guys, welcome to Java Developers YouTube channel. Okay, we had been started step 2, that is Java basics, syntax and fundamentals. In yesterday's class we have completed regarding the keywords and identifiers. Right, today our topic is about data types. Okay, in Java there are two types of data types are present. Basically, first one is a primitive data type and second one is a non-primitive data types. Okay, data types in Java, primitive and non-primitive data types. Okay, next, what are primitive type data types? Okay, the data types. Okay, basically, before going to the data types, I want to convey you one point that Java is a statically typed language. Okay, it's a statically typed language. That means if you want to define a variable, okay, if you want to define the variable and assign a value before assigning or after before assigning, we need to write the data type. Okay, what is the variable data type should be. Okay, that is mandatory. Okay, and primitive data types, it's already predefined. Okay, primitive data types are already predefined and these can store only the single valid data. Okay, single values it can store. It cannot store the objects. Okay, it refers to the simple data. That's about the primitive data types. While coming to the non-primitive data types, it refers to the objects. Non-primitive data types are developed by the programmers, I mean ourselves, right? It can store the multiple values. Okay, as the primitive data types, examples are byte, short, int, long, float, double, char, boolean. Okay, and next, non-primitive data types examples are like class, interface, strings, arrays. These are the some of the examples of non-primitive data types. Okay, this is some idea about that. First, we will look at the data types and how we are printing. I mean, we have to, before variable assigning, we need to specify its data type, right? We will look the primitive data type concept and then we go for the non-primitive data types. Okay, as a primitive data types, we have as a primitive data types we have byte, short, int, long, float, double, char, boolean. Okay, here these will represent the numbers without decimal points. Okay, these float and double will represent the decimal points. Char will represents the character. Okay, a single letter. Okay, and string, I mean boolean will represent either true or false. Okay, if I want to know its size, it's 1 byte. Okay, and the short is 2 bytes and int is 4 bytes. Okay, long is 8 bytes and float is 4 bytes, double is 8 bytes, char is 2 bytes, boolean is 1 bit. Okay, 1 bit. Okay, these are the primitive data types that can store only the simple values. It does not store the multiple values and it does not refers to the objects. Okay, okay, they have the particular sizes. Okay, each data type, each primitive data type, that will be consisting its own size, I mean uh its minimum value and maximum value. We will look for that. Okay, and while coming to the non-primitive data types, okay, non-primitive data types will consisting of arrays, okay, strings, interface, mm, class. Okay, right, these are the non-primitive data types in Java. Okay, next we'll go for the Once we look at the primitive data types, okay, these are the primitive data types in Java. Okay, what's its type? Byte is 1 byte. Okay, its default value is 0, and for these all numbers, right, up to this numbers category, right, they will store the default value as 0, and whereas float and double, they accept the decimal values. Okay, that 0 0.0. Okay, decimal values will be accepted by the float and double, and whereas byte short int long does not allows the decimal points. Okay, they allows the negative and positive numbers, but they does not allow the decimal points. Okay, that is the main difference. And one more thing, while writing the long, okay, we will, while writing the long, we should suffix the data with the L. Example, he has taken long. Okay, your population is a variable name, long is its data type, and it's a value. Okay, basically it's a value. Every value you are specifying the data type as long, it must be suffixed with the L. And same like float, float also behaves like the long, it must be suffixed with the F. F indicates float, whereas L indicates long. It's a default value for the char, that means character. Default value for the boolean is false. Okay, we will implement some of the examples here. Like if you take first byte b is equals to 10. Okay, system dot, okay, this is I was defined the byte. Okay, it's a data type, already we know that byte is a data type and it's a variable. Okay, let's take b1, and I want to store the 10 value. Okay, and system dot out dot println, it's a printable statement in Java, and I want to call b1. Okay, I want to call b1 here, and next we need to save the file. Okay, save as, in the desktop you can store it code Java. What is the file name? The file name is same, it must be same as class name, right? File name and class name must be same. Extension of Java. Okay, I have saved. Okay, then go to the same folder where you have been saved that file. Okay, go to the desktop and go for code Java, and go for this and code Java folder, and go to the code, open the command prompt. Okay, or you can go ahead with cd to the required path, and first we need to compile the code. What is our primitive? Okay, primitive values. Okay, here primitive is a one word, right? Always start, I mean class name must be start with the capital, and values is the next word, and the first letter is capital. Okay, observe that naming convention. Dot Java. Okay, there is no errors. Then run Java primitive values. Okay, what is the output? Okay, the output is 10, right? If I want another data type, like we have 8 data types, right? We have 8 data types like byte, short, int, long, float, double, char, boolean. So I want to print that. Okay, and these are the data types. Like byte stores the 10 value. Okay, and next short stores the 200, whereas int stores the 1000. Okay, based on their sizes they had been storing the more values. Okay, as a long suffix with the value of L, and it stores the value as 1 lakh, and float and double, char, boolean. Okay, I was printing it. Okay, just control A, yes, Go for the command prompt, compile the code. Okay, after compiling, run the code. Okay, here byte value is 10, short value is 200, int value is 1000, long value is 1 lakh, float value is 10.5. You got the values what we had defined, right? But what will happen if I want to give byte b1 is equals to, okay, 124. Okay, if I want to give byte value as 124, what will happen? Let's see. Okay, control S and go for the command prompt. I think we get value, right? Yes, it's 124 is getting. And if I want to use 130, okay, if I want to use 130, then is there any error? Yes. Compile time error is saying that incompatible types, possible loosey conversion from integer to the byte. Okay, that means the byte have the specific its size, right? As a byte size, it's mentioned as minus 128 to 127. Okay, it's 127 up to 127, whereas short it's 32,767, and whereas int 2 power 31 minus 1. Okay, as the value crosses 127 here, I have given 130, right? 130. If I use 127, I want to comment this and I want to comment this too. Then control S, go for the Java code, primitive types, you get 127. But if I use 128, what will be the code? First we need to run the compile the code. Yeah, incompatible types. That means the size is overcrossing. After overcrossing, what it was saying, like the byte, it's a by default the JVM is taking that it's an integer type. Okay, after crossing the byte range, it's by default it was taking the integer type, right? So it's useful to know its sizes too, but it's always not required to by heart that. And we have some codes, right? Okay, we will implement that. Public class byte example, already we know up to this much, right? I mean, defining the variable, assigning the value, then we are printing the value. But if I want to know its size, okay, what is the code for that? Okay, byte size. Okay, how we will get the byte size? Byte, okay, dot size, it's a size. Okay, and if I want to know the minimum value, byte min value or minimum value. Okay, how we will get that? Byte dot min underscore value. Okay, and I want to get the maximum value, like, right, this is a code value, right? Here we are just printing the byte value what we stored in the b variable, and we have to know the its size, right? As a byte size, it's 1 byte, right? As the size of byte is 1, right? As the byte size is 1 byte. Okay, as a byte size is 1 byte. Okay, and 1 byte equals to 8 bits. Already we know that, right? 1 byte equals to 8 bits. Okay, and minimum value we know that minus 127, and its maximum value will be like minus 128 is the minimum value, 127 is the maximum value, right? Okay, I want to save this as a byte example in the desktop. Go to the code Java, save byte class name and file name must be same, and we have to use extension of Java, right? Then go for command prompt java c byte example dot java. Okay, I was compiling the code, no errors. Java byte example. Okay, here the byte value is 100. Okay, here the byte value is 100, and next the size is 8 bits. Okay, one byte size is in bytes, it's 1, and 1 byte equals to 8 bits, so it's 8, and minimum value is minus 128 and maximum value is 127. Okay, that's the value for that. And if I go ahead with byte short, okay, let's go ahead with the short, save the file. Okay, save the file, like short example dot java. Okay, next go to the compiler, dot example dot java. Okay, java dot example. Okay, I say short is a 2 bytes, right? It means 8 into 2, 16 bits, and minimum value 32,768, maximum value is 32,767. If you are performing same for the int type, if I want to know its sizes, we have going to use this. Okay, we are going to use this. Okay, what else? Those we will discuss that in our later class. But next we have to go ahead with integer example dot java. Okay, integer example dot java. Okay, directly we are printing, we are not using java c. Okay, next a long example, just save it, dot java, save. For direct printing, don't prefer this, but for fastness purpose I was using java long example dot java. Okay, compiling and running at the same time, but it should not be preferable, as the size of long is 8 bytes, so 8 into 8 is 64, and minimum value and maximum value. Okay, and next we go ahead with float values. Okay, as we go ahead with float example as a class name, go to this and make sure that float example, and you got the size, its minimum value and maximum value. Here e represents exponential, yeah, and minimum and maximum value. After the points, how many digits it was accepting? 10 digits, right? Yeah, let's go ahead with the long. Okay, make sure that while using the long, we should suffix with the l, and while using the f we should suffix with the f. And we are going with the double does not contain any values, I mean does not suffix with anything, it's normal use, just like byte short int. Okay, let's use double. Okay, here you can observe that after the for the float type, it was after the decimal point it was accepting 10 digits, but here it was accepting around 8 10 12 14 16, right, around 16 digits, I mean e to the power of 308, right? Next, if we go ahead with the char, one difference with the char is that if you want to know the character size, right, If you want to know the character size, we need to convert that. I mean, character, it belongs to the letters family, right? I mean, it will take only a single character, but you are accessing minimum value, which is integer type. I mean, integer type data, right? So we need to do explicit typecasting. Okay, we will learn the typecasting concepts in our upcoming classes, but here we had converted character to the integer type for to get the its minimum and maximum values for the character. Okay, it's already predefined character dot size, so it will no issue with that type conversion. But whereas min and max values or their output will be resulted in the inter type, so they don't have the like character dot size, it directly gives the size. Okay, whereas this it will result only the value, so the value should be the integer type, so I was converting character is converted into the int. Okay, this is the issue with that char example. Okay, okay, let's print the character example. Java char example dot java, right? As a character you will get its size is 16 because it's a 2 byte, and as a minimum value is 0 and maximum value is 65535. Okay, this is all about the character. The last one is about boolean. Okay, and let's save the boolean. Let's print the boolean. The possible values for the boolean is true and false. Note size is not precisely defined for the boolean. Okay, the boolean contain only the true or false. It does not store any values. If you want to store, if you are trying to store any values into the boolean, you will get the errors. Okay, as a boolean is the purpose, it will give the output results either it's true or false. Okay, and it's a 1 bit. The size is around 1 bit. Okay, these are all examples on how to know its size and minimum value, maximum value for all the primitive data types. Next we had go ahead with the default values, how you can print the default values. Okay, here we have to take public class default values as a class. Next we are, okay, we are giving the byte b. I mean, just look at this code. Here it's a public class name. Class name always must start with the capital letter and next word first letter should be capital. Already we learned the naming convention. Byte, okay, short, we does not given any values, we not stored, just we have declared, right? We not initialized with any value, just declaration has been taken place. But so these primitive data types or this string is a non-primitive. Okay, these are written outside the main method. They comes under the category of instance variable. We will learn this variable concept in upcoming classes. Okay, this comes under the category of instance variables, the variables which are defined outside of a method. Okay, then there's those variables are called instance variables. If you want to access these variables which are presented outside the main method but inside the class, so we have to create the object. Okay, create object, create the object. How to create the object? Just write the class name. Okay, what the class name you had been given, write the class name and give one reference. Okay, reference variable used to call the instance variables or methods. Okay, it's basically used to call. Okay, new create the instance of an object. Default values, then it's a syntax of creation of an object. Okay, that means if I want to print the default value for the byte, the variable as b, just I have to call this reference. I mean, I have to write this reference, then you have to call that variable name. In the same way, for the short, you have to write reference dot yes. You have to continue this for the whole time. Okay, first we need to save. What's the class name? Default values, right? Default values dot java. Okay, go to the command prompt, then default values dot show. Okay, what is the default value for the byte? 0, short 0, int 0, long 0, but float and double its decimal numbers after the point, right? Whereas char it's given as a empty, right, with a single quotation. Boolean default value is false, whereas string default value is null. Okay, these are the some of the default values. I think we had you had got the full idea about the primitive data types. Okay, as a primitive data types is a 8 types. They stores only the single values. It does not support or it does not refer the objects. It store only the simple values. Okay, and um they have defined based on their lengths. I mean based on their size they have been using. Okay, I already told you the every point. If you like the content, just subscribe and follow, and if you have any doubt just comment me below. And if you want daily updated class notes, just join our WhatsApp group. The group link is available below the description. Thank you for watching.